Hey everybody, I'm Rob Freeman and welcome back to Insuring the Built Environment, where every week we talk about insurance in the energy and climate tech industry so that you can be smarter and save time and money when buying insurance for your energy and climate tech business. And if you need to get in touch with me, you can go to robfreeman.com or you can just schedule an appointment with me at the link below this video. So this week we are talking about net zero emissions. And what does net zero emissions mean? Well, net zero emissions on a global level, the appellation net zero, means getting the global carbon emissions from the energy sector to zero or as close to zero as possible. And so it doesn't mean using no energy. What it means is getting the energy that we do use down to zero carbon emissions or as close to zero carbon emissions as possible. And so when you hear this, a lot of people think, well, this is not something I can understand. How can that be possible? We mean right now, approximately 75% of all of our carbon emissions come from the energy sector globally. And so the concept of living in a net zero world is one that is very difficult to imagine. And it'll take a while to get there, but we hopefully will get there at some point. And but for people who are interested in working in the industry, if you want to be involved in building a solution to the carbon emissions problem, working in decarbonization, you can learn about a type of building called a net zero building. And these are unlike an abstract concept like net zero emissions on a global level. A net zero building is actually something you can see and touch and learn about, and then go build yourself if you are a real estate developer or an investor and you want to get into this industry. And so what is a net zero building? Well, a net zero building is basically a building that uses as much energy as it produces from on-site renewable energy sources over the course of a year. And there is a website that you can go to called the New Buildings Institute. And the New Buildings Institute has a map of all of the net zero buildings in the United States that you can look at, and you can see that there are net zero buildings in almost every state in the US. And so if you're interested in net zero, you can actually go to this website and you can find a net zero building in your state. Maybe it's nearby where you live, and then you could call the building owner or the landlord. A lot of these buildings are schools, and they have sort of teachable aspects to them where they are interested in showing you and kind of talking about what they did in these net zero building near you. You can go to the New Buildings Institute website at newbuildings.org right here, and you go and find the map for the net zero buildings map, and then you can sort. And you can sort by the type of building. We have emerging and verified buildings. Emerging just means that the building is in the process of becoming net zero, but doesn't have enough data in terms of energy use. And verified means that they're actually performing according to net zero standards. And you can sort by state and also by building type. And then you can also see down here at the bottom whether the building is certified using a green building standard like LEED or International Living Futures Institute ILFI. And then you can just find a building nearby where you are, and then you can go visit it. And that's pretty cool because you can see what's actually happening in the net zero buildings. So a net zero building is a type of green building that has a very, very tight and efficient building envelope, very, very efficient windows, uses a lot of daylighting. The internal building operation systems are very efficient, so highly efficient HVAC systems, highly efficient lighting, and very using low plug loads. So the overall load of the building is relatively low. And then the energy that's produced to run the building is created on site from solar or wind or geothermal or another type of on-site renewable energy, and it might use also energy storage in the building as well. And so these net zero buildings are actually things that you can go out and see and touch and learn from and get inspired about in terms of wanting to contribute to this industry. Now, in terms of insurance for net zero buildings, the insurance needs and the profile of the risks that are associated with a net zero building are similar to the ones that you would experience in any property. So you would have needs for property insurance, general liability, umbrella. You may also have needs for tech errors and omissions depending on what the building systems are doing and whether the building is a multifamily building or a school. You may also have some cyber exposure because buildings that are highly energy efficient often use building automation systems that may have a risk of getting hacked. And this does happen, so you may have some cyber needs there as well. You want to have a cyber insurance policy. And the other good thing about net zero buildings, not just net zero, but green buildings in general, is that you may be able to get a discount on your insurance by working with your insurance carrier. And your insurance carrier may be willing to offer you some discounted rates because of the fact that you have a green building that's certified from the Living Building Institute or the Living Futures Institute, using the Living Building Standard or the LEED certification standard. Energy Star is another one. And so there are all sorts of energy efficiency or green building rating systems. And if your building is certified, you may be able to get a discount on your insurance. So in a nutshell, net zero emissions is getting your emissions from carbon emissions, greenhouse gas emissions down to as close to zero or zero. And then a net zero building is one that uses only as much energy as it produces from on-site renewable energy sources through the course of the year. And you can find a map of all the net zero buildings in the US at the New Buildings Institute. So that's it. If you have questions about your insurance or you want to get in touch, please go to robfreeman.com or you can schedule an appointment with me at the link below this video. Thanks again for watching and have a great day.